Welcome back, everyone. Today we have an excellent little game to help you bust the myth that you are faster when you multitask. In fact, multitasking has become such a norm that it's even on sub-job descriptions and promoted in certain environments. Try this activity yourself and ask how it might apply to your work environment. But before we get started, I want to take a quick second to promote my awesome players, Tim, Aruna, Steve, another Tim, and Tricia. The links to their LinkedIns will be in the description below. As always, you can support the channel in the ways listed to my left. There are both free and paid options. Also, don't forget that you can always find any relevant links or bookmarks to skip to the parts that you find helpful in the description below. Without further ado, let's roll that beautiful intro and we will get started. So this is the paper version of the multitasking Mythbuster game. And I learned, I don't know who invented this, asked the person who I learned it from, which was Nigel Thurlow in the flow system training for the lean training. If I could, show this, he's like, it's not mine, but, I learned it there. Go check him out. Go check the flow system out. It's really awesome. And the setup, you're just going to draw this grid. Zoom in a little bit here, learned from my last videos. Just draw three lines on your paper, and one's going to be for Arabic, one's going to be Roman numerals, and one's going to be letters. And we're going to start round one by going, you're going to have your phones ready, and you're going to need your phone or a stopwatch or timer to do this, something that counts up. And you're going to start your timer on round one, and I'll say start whenever we start this. But you're going to write the first number in this column, then you're going to go to the other column. And for the Roman numerals, you're going to write the Roman numeral 1. And then on letters, you're going to write the letter A. And then you're going to move subsequently down and write 2, 2, B, 3, 3, C, and so on and so forth, down till you get done with J. And so that is round one. And of course, you start the timer before you write the number 1, and you end the timer at J. So if y'all would like to get situated, we will try that now, and I'll move everyone's faces over here.
And James, to clarify understanding, we're doing this with the pen and paper, correct?
Yes, we're doing with this is I have made 2 versions. You can check out that video as well, but I'm going to first we're going to be doing the paper version, which you can do on Zoom because everyone has pen and paper, hopefully. So
Yes.
So whenever you guys would like to start, we're going to be starting round one. I'll give you guys a minute or 2 to do that, but feel free to start whenever you are ready. Is there any other questions?
No.
Okay.
All right. So we're done with the first exercise, right?
All right.
Round one.
So, yep, Mark, you want to tell me your times real quick? And I will mark those down. Let's say player 1 is Aruna. So tell me your first round time, Aruna.
46:80.
46.
Wow.
We're going to round to the nearest second, if that's cool.
All right.
46:80. So that's 47.
47. Okay.
And all right, what about you, Tim?
I
Which
had.
one?
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Tim Nolan. Let's start with Tim Nolan. That's fine. That's a good point.
you can just call me Nolan if it's easier.
Okay.
I had 54 seconds.
54. Okay. And then Tim Dickery.
Tim Dickey, like the barbecue Dickey.
Oh, Dickery.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I had the winning longest time at 1 minute and 21 seconds.
We'll do it that way. That's fine. And then Tricia.
I had 33 seconds.
33 seconds.
Well, there's a speed writer right there.
I know. I don't like that it's not perfectly lined though, too. My OCD is kicking in.
All right. And Steve,
54 seconds, 50 seconds.
50 seconds. Okay. All right. So now in round 2, we're going to do the same thing, but you're going to start the timer, and then you're going to write 1 all the way down to 10 in the first column first. And in the second column, you're going to write 1 through 10, and then the next in the letters. But this time you're going to start the timer and then go each vertically
Column.
to each column. So now that we have everyone's times, we're going to record the second round times since everyone's done. And Aruna, what was your round 2 time?
26 seconds.
26. Wow. And Tim, Nolan?
26, same.
26. All right. Tim, tiebreaker.
A leisurely 38 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's a
Not-
huge
not
improvement
the direction
from
of the time. But yeah, it's still a huge improvement, obviously. And Tricia,
24 seconds.
24 seconds. All right. And Steve,
24, I'm pretty sure.
24.
Hey, do the replay. You've got it recorded.
I was gonna say, but can't do that right now, but I'll do that later. So anyways, this obviously we learned that the first time you're trying to switch back and forth, that time was obviously much higher comparatively to our doing one sequence of things. But does anybody have comments? Does anybody have experiences they'd like to share as well that they'd like to put on the video?
Oh, I just wanted to say that I found it really difficult to switch between the 3. When I'm looking at my time, I took, twice as much time for round 1. It was so much harder for me to switch, especially between Arabic and numeral. And that, I found it hard. So context switching is a thing. It does cost to me. It does
Yeah.
have a cost.
Yeah, but as a developer, it takes, maybe 30 minutes to switch tasks. So it's a lot more intensive when you're doing development.
Yeah.
This is nothing really. It takes a second or 2, but can you imagine switching to 6 tasks in a day? That's like 2 hours right there. You just lost.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you
And it's
intersperse
not-
meetings on top of that.
Yeah, and it's not that you're you are working on it, right? You're just not into it. You're not into flow, right? As opposed to the flow. If you start something and you're working it all day, there's a flow there. That's totally different from task switching. So it doesn't matter, even though you switched them, you've moved on to something else. That's really not the penalty. The penalty is like getting your mind into it.
So in the real world, given how things operate, when you're called into meetings and different kinds of activities in the day, anybody have any techniques to recommend?
You're not going to like this, and I have to practice it every day. And I do this intentionally, and it's only for myself. I start my day early, ahead of the teams, so that I know that the really routine, repetitive things, the things that I would normally put off, I'll do those first, so that when I'm already into the rhythm of attending meetings and taking notes, and I'll have cleared that off. And the other thing is, I steadfastly refuse to overpopulate my calendar. I have colleagues who are double and triple booked. I keep a ton of white space. And it's intentional, because oftentimes, because of the context switching, I find myself getting pulled in at random into different, either one-on-ones or team level meetings to help troubleshoot. And that's just me and me countering Little's law.
So to ask a question off of that, because I'm you say you keep a bunch of white space. Do you calendarize that white space with saying that you're busy, or because I have people that I used to work with that did that, and that seemed like a very effective task
Yes,
or way of doing
I
it.
do that.
Yeah,
I do
that is
That
one
works.
technique. I just actually refuse meetings. I mean, you know, I'm not ashamed to say that I will not accept meetings if I know I have more pressing matters to work through. And my colleagues and I, we do a really good job of balancing coverage. And we work at the PMs within the organizations actually work as a team, which is kind of an incredible thing. It hasn't happened naturally, but I think we've been very intentional about it.
Yeah, I have to agree. Booking time in your calendar.
Yeah.
Less intuitively is pairing and mobbing.
Mm.
Because when you're pairing, even if you have to leave for something, well, first of all, you're protected because you're pairing. So people are much more reluctant to interrupt the pair for some reason. And same thing with a mob, right? There's no interruptions because there's nothing else going on. You're doing a single piece of work. But if you do have to leave, you come back to the same thing again. You come back to the same flow.
Interesting.
One of
I
the
have to-
recommendations, oh, I'm sorry.
No, Tricia, go ahead.
One of the recommendations I make to a lot of teams, especially because people don't often have a say in how many projects they get assigned to or things like that. And I always make the joke, you can't go back to your manager and tell them Tricia Broderick told you to only work on one thing because I would like to keep working myself. But on the same note, what I often do is try and really do some block scheduling, like maybe one project in the morning and the other projects in the afternoon. And a lot of pushback will be, but they can't wait. I have to be in Slack at all times. And I'm like, if you're that important that they can't wait a few hours, then why are you on a second project? And I think that that's part of we try to be so responsive to people that in the end, when you look at numbers like this and you do an exercise or a game like this, there's a lot of different variations. You're actually not being efficient by quickly responding because you're taking that cost someplace, that hit of time someplace.
Mhm.
And so it's really retraining your brain to think efficiency doesn't mean that instant Slack response. It means coordinating that Slack response in a block of time when it makes most sense when you're going to be doing that. So I try and really have people kind of go, this is going to be my email time, or this is going to be my Slack time, or this is going to be this project's time or this project's time. And you can't do it 100%, but it dramatically cuts down on at least some of that context switching.
Excellent point.
Thinking of
Comment I
that,
wanted to make was, notifications of the devil, right? I mean, 'cause
Yes.
Yes,
it is breaking your concentration every time
Yep.
something pops up. So turn those off, and maybe not manage the kind of work you're getting, but once you're involved in the work, if you haven't tried the Pomodoro technique, I think that's fantastic. So that's where you set a time, quietly time for 25 minutes and work on that one task or that one portion of the project, and then take a 5-minute break afterwards. And you keep doing that cycle, 25 on, 5 off, 25 on, and either until the task is complete or you've gone through a series of Pomodoros that will, then you should take a longer break. But you'd be amazed at how much, just like I think Tim Dickey was talking about, he probably gets more done in the hour before everybody shows up than he does all day long, because it's uninterrupted focus time. And you can actually, if you, just like Tricia was saying, if you can negotiate with your coworkers, hey, I'm going to spend the next 25 minutes doing a Pomodoro. We actually in our office have a little tomato that we hang on our window that says, don't bother me. I've got, I'm Pomodoring right now. And now I can't do it all day long, but it's for those times that you have to finish something, maybe a deadline or something like that. It's a really, really good technique.
yeah, that triggers me too, because in this thought that in some places I've worked, if you have your headphones on, you're not to be interrupted. So symbols like that are also good, right? Headphones on mean don't interrupt me. Headphones off mean whatever. Right, come and talk to me. Other symbols, we've used other symbols as well, like little dinosaurs to ward away evil. Things like that.
And Steve and Tim, and you bring up a really good point, and I've been doing this since just before the holiday break last year. I've actually been, the little available, unavailable switch on Slack. I'm offline all the time. people know they can reach me, but they don't now go out of their way to reach me.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's external symbols.
Oh,
And
really?
then, of course, going off of what Trish says, and then don't forget as a manager or management, leave your people Slack time. If you want them to focus, they need Slack in their schedules.
Exactly. Aruna, did you have something like less to say? I don't know if like you got to say
No,
everything.
I did. I feel like I put it in my calendar. I use my calendar so much more intentionally now
Oh, okay.
because I have a lot of work and different initiatives with different needs. So I just in the morning before I start my day, I slot out what I'm doing when in the calendar. That way I get 3 or 4 things done. But it's more about managing my sense of being overwhelmed. Using my calendar intentionally helps me with that. I wasn't doing it like that before. I only had meetings on my calendar, but now I really plan my day. When am I going for a walk? When am I going to work on this other thing? When am I going to work on this other thing? So when I use my calendar like that, I find that I manage my sense of feeling oppressed with the amount of work I have. I manage it much better.
Excellent. I tend to do the same. I'm a huge Google Calendar fan. So like if it's not on there, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
If it is on there, it has a slightly more likeliness to happen. Thanks everyone for watching. It's been fun. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below if you have had any other games that have helped you or activities. If you've run into resistance and you need help in some way, the community I'm sure would love to band together. I'll of course respond to any comments you have below. But that's going to do it for us today. Make sure to like, subscribe, share with someone you know, and keep on learning, and we'll see you next time.